Some really unfortunate news today about Blues defenseman Torey Krug. I'm going to talk about what that means, and let's dive right into it.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, I'm going to talk about Torey Krug and the injury / potential surgery, concerns for this season, and a scary day to be a Blues fan. We do have a lot to get on today's episode. A very unfortunate episode, if I am being completely honest with you, and I will explain why in a minute. But like always, before I dive into today's episode, I just want to let you know that it is brought to you by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? You need Indeed. Indeed you do. So this morning, I was brainstorming ideas for today's episode, and I said, let's talk either about Torey Krug or Jordan Kyrou. And I put a poll out on Twitter, and little did I know that I would be really focusing on Torey Krug today. News came out today about Torey Krug, and it's very unfortunate news as Krug could be out indefinitely. So basically, the best way to really explain what happened to him is that he was diagnosed with a pre-arthritic changes in his left ankle. So that's what was put out today. I'm going to read you a statement from NHL.com basically explaining this situation. We will talk about it, of course, but I want to make sure that I am factually correct since this is a very scary injury. Since this is a potential player's career maybe coming to an end, there is a lot of uncertainty when it comes to Torey Krug and his time in the NHL. So before anybody says, just be respectful, first off, and please understand, if you don't like a player, that's fine, but this injury is a very serious one, and no player or person should have to go through what he's going through this late in his career. It just sucks. Okay. So this is from NHL.com. He is out indefinitely after being diagnosed with a pre-arthritic changes in his left ankle, which resulted from a bone fraction sustained earlier in his NHL career. Krug will rehab over the next 6 to 8 weeks before being reevaluated to determine whether surgery is needed. If so, he will not play for the 2024-2025 season. What we just went over right now is a fact. In the next 6 to 8 days, if his rehab isn't improving in any way, he will need the surgery. Because, again, his health goes beyond hockey. He has a family, and it's some really scary stuff. So if he does get the surgery, which we will know in about the next 6 to 8 weeks, he's out for the season. Okay. Now in the 6 to 8 weeks, the other side is maybe he's recovering. Maybe he's doing better than, what, we'll take it from there. But what do I think? I think it's not my business. I'm not a doctor. I can't make that call. What I can say, though, is that it just doesn't sound good from all these reports and how it is. So he's 33 years old. He had 39 points last season for the Blues. And anywho, he signed a 7-year, $45.5 million contract, $6.5 million AAV in 2020. He had a foot injury, last offseason and had to miss a, handful of games. Just sucks. It really does. It's really unfortunate with Krug. Krug also said, I chose to stay here and I want to be a part of this room. I love playing for the city and wearing the blue note. That's one of my favorite quotes that Krug ever had. It's something very exciting and that I'm excited about. I have kids, I have my family, and a lot of things to think about. But at the end of the day, like I said, I want to be here and wear the note. We have a great locker room here and a great feeling in the locker room this year. We can turn it around quick. So, personally, if you want my opinion on this, I feel like if he doesn't play this coming season, maybe it's career ending. And I'm not wanting that to happen in any way. It just doesn't seem so good. So that's the fact. That's what happened with Torey Krug today. It's so unfortunate. And it's not something that's a positive in any single way. And it makes maybe a little bit more sense why they signed Suter. I mean, it's just a really awful thing for Torey Krug. And I don't know. I guess Doug knew what was coming. Okay. I guess he knew maybe, this might be a possibility. But being out indefinitely just does not sit right with me. That says that there might be something a little bit more serious. However, give it this 6 to 8 weeks. You never know. So here's another thing. I'm not a doctor in any way, but you might be wondering, Haley, what is, a pre-arthritic changes in the left ankle? What does that mean? So I did some research today, actually. I went to, because arthritis is a thing. Listen, a bunch of people have it. It's very common. I was in Greek life. I was literally my philanthropy, but I wanted to make sure that I got the right definition. Arthritis is the inflammation of one or more of your joints, and it causes pain, stiffness, and any joint injury to the body, and is common with small joints in the foot or the ankle. There are more than 100 forms of arthritis, many of which affect the foot and ankle. All types are different, and they can make it difficult to walk and perform activities that you would enjoy. So basically, and I'm just explaining to you so you can understand, during standing, walking, and running, the foot and ankle provide support and shock. Basically, the best way to describe it from the video that I watched, it taught me, when you're going down, it like protects you, if that makes sense. So that's what that is. Okay. 3 bones make up the ankle joint. So there are 28 bones in the foot and more than 30 joints that allow for a wide range of movement. So clearly there is a lot. So in the left, because the left is different than the right, by the way, the joint of the ankle, midfoot, and big toe are most affected by arthritis. So basically, the best way to describe it is it's like a bunch of joints. Now, why am I giving you this on this hockey podcast? Because I want to inform you of the severity that this truly is. I think that when people hear maybe arthritis, they think, oh, well, because it's so common, he will be fine. But the reality is that arthritis, it's debilitating. Okay. It's very serious and it's very painful. And I want to do my job as your host of Locked On Blues to give you all the information, even when it comes to some medical jargon, right? So with Torey Krug, I just wanted to put that out there because it's just scary. Like imagine like just that much pain in your ankle and foot. So that's what arthritis is. And again, I am live on YouTube today because if you have any questions about what's going on with Torey Krug, about what his condition is, let me know so we can talk about it. Today's episode is for you, St. Louis. It's to inform you of what is going on. So another thing too, and this again, I'm just giving you some more definitions. Basically, ankle arthritis occurs roughly with 1% of people, and it's usually the result of trauma, such as a fracture or dislocation years earlier. So basically what Torey Krug went through with his, injury earlier. People under 40 who have an ankle injury can occasionally get this condition, but most often it develops from a lifetime of use. So he's an athlete, so that's when he got it. The older we get, the more the cartilage basically isn't as strong, especially in the joints. So about 18% over the age of 65 actually have it worse. Okay. There are ways that you can physically treat this. But there's also something where it's about severe ankle arthritis, and sometimes it does include surgery. So, an ankle fusion, it reduces or eliminates the pain of the end stage ankle arthritis. So, basically, it's going to limit your mobility as much. Ankle replacement, enough said. Um, Ankle distraction basically addresses the pain and restores the joints. So, that's basically some of the procedures that I saw. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that it's a very serious condition, which is why I am talking about it. So, yeah, I see a bunch of comments saying, "Hey, this is why they're stacking up on D-men." I am going to talk about that actually coming up because I have a whole thing on that one. But I just wanted to let you guys know the severity of the ankle and the injury and some of the problems that it causes just because I had to inform myself today. Because you're reading all these things and it's like, oh, it's arthritis. But at the end of the day, like this is literally like so debilitating, even without hockey, right? So I just wanted to tell you about that. Now, I'm going to talk about the Blues stacking up on defensemen. But before I do that, I'm going to talk to you about my friends over at Indeed. If you need a hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And this is why I love Indeed. Indeed literally does it all because they are leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job more visibility at Indeed.com/locked on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? You need Indeed. My concerns for this season are a little bit different now. So, this explains why the Blues made the moves with the defenseman that they have, right? However, this is also concerning because I did say previously that I expected Torey Krug to have a great season for St. Louis this year. I really believe in him. Maybe I give him the benefit of the doubt just a little too much, but it's going to be bad if he doesn't play. It really will be. The thing with Torey Krug, and I think the reason why I do like him so much is because I know what he can bring. And sure, is he the best D-man? No. Is he, our power play, penalty kill specialist? No. But he is somebody that does contribute a lot. And if he doesn't play, he will be missed greatly on the ice. Okay. So deep breath, St. Louis, because this explains why maybe Dougie A was making some of the moves that he was making. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense now. So when it comes to defense, P.O. Joseph, they acquired him, left-handed defenseman, fine. Then they also picked up, and listen, I just want to say this. They did pick up some other guys that, have potential. I said that really quietly. But no, it is true because I don't know if this player is going to play that many games. And that is the thing. Ryan Suter, they picked up. And the reason why I said potential, I don't see him playing like more than 15 minutes a night. So I don't know how much he's going to contribute. But then you look at the other D-men that the Blues have. Justin Folk. I really do like Jay Folk. I don't know. Nick Leddy, get rid of him. Sorry. Colton Parayko, that's my boy for life. One of our only other right-handed defensemen besides Jay Folk. Scott Perunovich, again, a left-handed defenseman, and Tyler Tucker, left-handed defenseman. We have an issue, St. Louis, where we have way too many left-handed defensemen and not a lot of right-handed defensemen. So that's a concern. Secondly, I don't know how these lines are going to be in these pairings. I can't predict what the season's going to bring. But what I can say is this. Taking Torey Krug out just makes me super nervous now about how the season's going to go. I guess you could look and you could say, oh, well, Suter would replace Krug, but he can't do that. P.O. Joseph can't do that. This is why I get nervous, okay? This is why it makes me just a little on edge. Last season, we saw Torey Krug a lot in the second pair with Justin Folk. It was Leddy, Parayko, Krug, Folk, Perunovich, or Tucker, Kessel, like all that kind of combination. Torey Krug was on the first power play unit. When it came to the penalty kill, he was usually on the second unit. So he was very valuable when he came to the Blues and the pairings. I am stressed out, clearly, because as your host of Locked On Blues and as a Blues fan myself, I always keep my little hat with me with the blue note. I'm like holding it for support. I always try to think of the best outcome, right? I don't know if I see Suter as a second pair defenseman. I don't know if I see P.O. Joseph that way. That's like the thing. It's like I don't see some of the guys that the Blues acquired to be that way. And that's where my concern is. Too many left-handed, not enough right-handed, not enough talent. Sorry, but that's true. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. But I have to suspect that's what he had to have known. There's a reason why they drafted so many, defensemen right away. But that doesn't help this season, and that's where my head hurts. What are the Blues going to do about this? What are the possible pairings going to be? Are the guys that you have now going to be the same guys that you have on opening night? Or are they going to get rid of Leddy? Are they going to get rid of Folk? Like, what are the Blues going to do? What is the long-term plan here? Because without Torey Krug, I hate to say it, I am freaking out. And I know a lot of you were saying, oh, get rid of Torey Krug. The contract is bad, okay? I will admit that. 100%. But he still played well. Maybe not the best. Maybe he wasn't exceeding expectations here in St. Louis, but he did hold his own. And now I am nervous now. I don't, it's an awful feeling to feel this way about your team because it does make me very nervous about what is to come. And I guess right now, he could miss the season. And it's a huge concern. I mean, this is an injury where, in 6 to 8 weeks, if he's not rehabilitating properly, he's out. And 6 to 8 weeks, just so you know, that is basically almost training camp time. So it's coming soon. I don't have a good feeling about this. And that's where the Blues really need a plan for what they're going to do if Torey Krug is indefinitely out. That's what he is right now. He's indefinitely out. So if that's how he remains and he's out for the season, you maybe need to bring in somebody else that has a little bit more talent on defense. And it's not me dissing, by the way, on Suter. It's not me being negative. It's that this guy is like 39. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, well, Torey Krug isn't young. He's 33. Like, there is a difference between 33 and 39. So respectively, yeah, you might need to go acquire somebody else. You might need to get rid of that Nick Leddy. You might need to just make some moves because the defense right now is concerning. And that is why I am concerned for the season. It is because this is not a good defensive core. I hate to say it, but Torey Krug potentially not being in the Blues' defense is a disadvantage. And all of the Torey Krug haters, all the people that said, oh, we didn't like him. Okay, well, this is not good. Like, he is seriously injured. So, a bunch of people are saying they need to make a trade. I suspect they will move Letty. This explains why they were talking about defense. So yeah, that is why. And those rumors that I talked about with Dylan on Friday about maybe a big trade for the Blues? Wouldn't that make a little sense that maybe something is coming up now because of Torey Krug? Like, maybe the Blues are already in the works of doing something. I would suspect that they were, but yeah, not good. Before I talk about it being a scary day for Blues fans, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to this podcast here on YouTube. And also, the Locked On podcast of the Locked On Blues is on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe. My everydayers know I love coming on here to talk about the St. Louis Blues. I'm done my begging, and I'm going to talk more about why today was a scary day for the Blues. Well, fans and the Blues, but the fans. We have not had it easy, I feel like, the past couple off seasons. I know maybe it seems like every off season Tory Krug is involved, but this is not his fault. It's a scary day because injuries do happen, and injuries are more common than you think when it comes to some of these athletes, right? And as a fan, we know that this is going to be a really tough season. You have a very competitive Central Division. You have a very competitive Western Conference. And you know that your defense is a little shaky. And now one of your core defensemen might be out for the season. And the next best guy that you have is Colton Parayko, which is Colton Parayko was always like the best. Okay, let's be for real. But it still doesn't make you feel any bit better knowing that this season could just go down the hill again. Like, it just is not a good situation. I am optimistic about PO and Suter. I'm very optimistic. But as a fan, I do have concerns. I do have worries. I think to myself, is Doug going to make another move? Well, what are the Blues going to do about him? Are we going to get any guys that can shoot right-handed? Like, is it seriously just the state of living in, oh, well, we'll wait until next year? Well, we waited. We missed the playoffs for 2 consecutive seasons. Something needs to be done. So that's why I'm going to say this. As bad as a day as today was, and as scary as it is, because it is never good to see a player in your team have to deal with an injury as severe as this one is, I suspect that there will be a trade. I think it's going to be this week. Today is Tuesday, July 16th. I suspect by the end of the week, the Blues will be done deal with a trade. I don't have any inside information on that. That's just my prediction, which I'm allowed to have. But do you think the Blues are going to make a trade? Or do you think they're just going to let it ride now? Do you think that all they did with picking up, the other guys was all that they needed to do for the defensive help? I don't know. I can't see this defense being successful. I really can't. I don't like it at all. I really am concerned. So, yay to being concerned in the middle of July. No, but I know it's way too early. So, and a lot of things can happen between now and the start of the season. But I think the Blues need to act fast, get the structure of the team right. That way, when the season does begin, they have a really solid defensive core going forward. But not a pleasant day to be a Blues fan. Very scary. And before I end today's episode, just pray for Tory Krug and his family and his recovery. Listen, take the hockey out of it. This man clearly loves the city. He's a human, so I like Tory Krug. I'm a fan of Tory Krug, and I seriously just hope that he is okay. This is no joke. Again, if you need to kind of understand what he's going through, the beginning of today's episode, I explained everything about, the arthritis and potential paths that he might take. I'm not a doctor. I just wanted to kind of give you some background information on this. But again, I want to end today's episode, obviously, by just giving Tory Krug and his family a lot of prayers and really hoping for a speedy recovery. I'm really hoping that 6 to 8 weeks you will be okay. And if not, I can't even go down that route. So, Torey, I am thinking of you. St. Louis, I am thinking of you. And I will talk to you tomorrow for hopefully a more positive episode. But like always, let's go Blues.